Julie had submitted a pretty good question here. So this is pretty interesting. So last week, this is kind of expanding upon last Friday's workshop theme, where I showed you guys how to use the SiSwingsHighsLows indicators, with a couple of other, on price and on the MACD and a couple of other indicators. So we'll take, last week's theme, where last week we were kind of looking for an indicator or for price to break the previous pivot swing point, but now we'll use the swings, highs, lows, and try and determine when a double top or double bottom occurs. And so the thing, I think the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to use some logic from the moving average bounce system, and which I believe I did in October of last year, October or November of last year. So if you want to look through the historical workshop recordings, you can find that system, where simply it was, let's see, I have a moving average on this chart here. So that system was looking for kind of like bounces, kind of similar to this, where you have price coming down and it bouncing off of a moving average. So I'm going to try and take the logic from that, where we're detecting price, near a certain level, but this time instead of applying it to a moving average, we'll apply it to the SiSwingsHighsLows and try and determine a double bottom or a double top from that. So that's what we'll cover today, and let me just kind of take a look at the board here. So good morning, everybody. And Robert, okay, so before we get started, Robert is asking, is the SI Pro Renko available for testing? And yes, it is, Robert. So let me show you. All right, so I'm going to take you to the home page. And so for those of you who are familiar with our web page, so we've changed this menu just slightly now. So we got BloodHound on the top, and you'll see right below it is the Pro Renko, and we also have the backtest Renko. So in previous times when I've previewed this, we had originally called it SI True Renko, and we just wanted the name to be a little more clear as to what it's doing. So we're going to rename it to SI Backtest Renko. So let me go into the Pro Renko. So here's the write-up. Explains how it works, what it does, the parameter fields and what they do, and I need to take that notice off. So this one is ready to go. You can purchase it here. And also, as a BloodHound owner, so since you guys are in this workshop, that means you guys have a licensed BloodHound. You're also entitled to a discount. And so send us in, an email to support@sharkindicators.com, and we'll get you that coupon code. If you don't have it already, I do believe Jeremy already sent out an email, I believe, with the coupon code. So I'm not positive on that. All right, and as far as the other bar type, we just need to get the licensing hooked into the code, and then it'll be ready to go as well. So, all right, well, with that, let me get started with today's question. Trying to detect double tops and double bottoms here. So let's see. All right, so let me kind of get a chart ready. So we're just going to be dealing with price action today. Let's get rid of all that. And all right, so the first thing I'll do is put the SiSwingsHighsLows on here. And I'll just use the default settings. And oh, good. So it looks like I lucked out, and I already have something to work with. So we'll see if we can detect this double bottom right there. So I can see price came down within a couple of ticks, and so we can see right here's our first bottom, and then here's our second bottom for our double bottom. And I'm just going to scan through the chart real quick and see if there's any double tops. Well, maybe this will work out up here. Kind of depends on how stringent I build the system. But looks like right there we have a double top as well. All right. So let's see. Well, let me give this a name first. Boy, the end of September, man, winter's coming awful quick. All right, so the first thing I'm going to work on is the kind of core solver, which is going to do the detect the initial condition. So our initial condition is we're going to be looking for price, and in this case we're going to be looking for the low price for double bottoms, and we're going to be looking at the high price for double tops. So I want to look for when the low price is near the swings highs lows plot, and look for when the high is near the other swings highs lows top, or plot I should say, as well. So when we're looking for price or one indicator being in a close proximity to another indicator, we're doing a comparison there. So let's see, I'm just going to jump onto a logic board here, and let's give this a name. So all right, so double tops and bottoms. And I'm going to start with my comparison solver. So the comparison solver will be doing the initial detection of price to the indicator's plot, and then I will have to add other solvers to kind of create some filters here, because you can see that right here we're going to get a bunch of false triggers as the closing price or the low is near that plot, and we're going to get some false signals up here. So I'll have to add other solvers and maybe use some other indicators as well to kind of create a filtering effect, because I'll kind of have to determine a way to make sure that price did move away and then started moving back towards the double bottom area or the double top area again. All right, so let's see. Indicator A is going to be the price, which will be the low price and the high price. So let's switch this over to Chameleon so we can get the high and low prices. And in this case, we're going to be working a little backwards. So we're going to be using the low price for long signals because we want typically we want a long signal off of this double bottom. And the high price, we want to look for short signals. All right. And the next indicator B is going to be our swings, highs, low indicator. So we can compare against this widest bottom plot. And keep in mind wrong indicator. Keep in mind with the swings, highs, lows indicator. So when I pointed out last week when I showed this, I have modified my plots here. So if you didn't see last week's workshop, and you'll notice that your plots look different. So I modified my plot settings on my indicator so to a format that I like to see. So I like to see either my NinjaTrader, the NinjaTrader swing indicator, which is very similar to the swings, highs, lows indicator. I like to see it with the hash plot instead of the dots or the lines. So let me set this up and I'll show you how I had modified my swings, highs, low indicator. All right, so for the plots that we're going to be analyzing here, so in this double bottom area, right, we're looking for the low price to be in proximity to the thicker magenta plot, which is the widest bottoms. And the lighter blue color that's a little thicker is the widest tops plot. And I will show that to you here in just a moment. So let me open up that indicator. And so you'll see I set my widest bottoms to this hash plot with a thickness of 4 and my widest tops to a hash plot with a thickness of 4. And so like the widest tops is the thicker blue line up top, and the widest bottoms is the thicker magenta line down here at the bottom. All right, so you'll notice that we're just getting longs and short signals all over the place, and that's because I need to now set up my outputs correctly. So I'm first just going to clear out all the outputs. And now I'm not looking for price to be above or below this plot, this indicator plot. I'm looking for price, in other words, in this instance, the low price to be within a certain range, within proximity. So when that happens, I want to use the neutral output here. But first, what I need to do is determine, what kind of a range do I want to use? I need to give the system some flexibility because right now we're looking for the low to be exactly touching the plot line because I have 0 ticks. So this neutral area is the zone between 0 ticks above the plot or 0 ticks below the plot. But I need to give the system some flexibility here. So I'm going to first, let's see, let me take a look at the instrument I'm using. And it is the CL. So we'll give this some flexibility, and I'll look for 3 ticks. So I'm going to be looking for when price comes within either 3 ticks above the plot line or 3 ticks below the plot line. And I'm also going to set this upper one to 3 ticks as well. And so now you'll notice sometimes these descriptions don't update. So even though I put 3 ticks in here, so you can see it still says 0 ticks. So the way to update these, if it's not updating for you, is you can just click on another solver and then click back. And now you can see the description updated. So now we have A greater than B by 3 ticks. So now you can see this neutral area is within this 3 ticks above or 3 ticks below. And so now so this is neutral area is what I'm looking for. And so as soon as I put the long in there, we can see we got a long signal right there when the low price came within that 3 tick above and 3 tick below zone. So we kind of created a range of a 6 tick range around this plot line. And let me put the short output in there. And so you can see we got, yes, we do have a short output here where we want. And like I said, we're also getting a bunch of false signals as well. So now we had to start creating some other logic to kind of get rid of these, these miscellaneous signals that we don't want. And let's see, this one looks nice and clean. So let me need to find an area to work on. So I think I'll work on this area over here. All right, so the first thing I notice is I don't want to signal when price is still coming down towards the swings plot here. I want to look for when price is going away from it, right? Moving away from it, or price is bouncing away from it. So I want to make sure that the candle is moving away from the plot line, away from our double bottom or double top, our pivot point. So I'm going to use the bar direction solver to determine that. And I will need to join them together with an AND node. All right, so that cleaned up some of the signals here. So I'll just need to take a moment and analyze this. And, I'm not so sure that this would be a fault signal. This very easily could have turned into a bounce when price had moved back up away. So there really, this is like a perfect situation. There really is no cleanup there. So maybe I could add some filters to look for, I guess, a bigger swing from the initial pivot point, right? So this dot is kind of marking the initial low point, pivot point. So I could eliminate some of these smaller swings in here, which are giving a lot of signals. So in other words, I could look for the distance between these swing points here. So maybe that would filter out some signals. So that would filter out probably these two signals. But the problem is it would filter out this double top as well, because look, this double top is really short. Really short, only 4 bars. Well, yeah, only 4 bars after the initial pivot. So, Or maybe this would end up being a better filter, is to look for 2 bars going in the correct direction. So let's do that first. I'll set this up so that we're looking for 2 bars in the correct direction. And let's see. So that's pretty simple to do. I could just set this to 2. And set that to 2. And you can see that killed all of my signals. So what's happening here? Let's take a look at what's happening, why that killed all the signals. So let's take a look at the original solver that's generating the signals. And so for example, let's go back here. So if we're looking at this area here, right, so we have one signal on the bar that, right, on this one bar here. So now if we look at the bar direction solver, you can see there's no signal on that bar now where price was close to the plot line there. The signal comes afterwards because now we're looking for 2 bars in the correct direction. So what I have to do is I have to take the signal from this solver that's detecting, right? So we have to take this signal here from the comparison solver and move it forward 1 bar so that it lines up with the signal coming out of our bar direction. And there's a couple ways I can do that. Probably the cleanest way is to adjust the displacement here. And I believe all I need to displace is probably just the price. Yes. So in this case, I only had to displace the indicator A by 1. You know, I could displace this by 1 as well. It's not going to really do much, but so that's one way to do it, is use the displacement that's built into the comparison solver. Another way I could do it is I can use the Lookback solver. I'll plug that in there, and you can see this has a displacement feature in it, and essentially it's already set up to displace your signal by 1 automatically. So I didn't really have to adjust anything. But I like to do things simply and with a minimal number of nodes as possible. So I'm going to go back and change this displacement here. Connect that in. All right, let's take a look at this now. So we got rid of some of these signals in here. And let's see, so now we introduce some new signals going on here. And, so let's see why that's occurring. Okay, so we kind of learned here that probably using this displacement isn't working as expected. So let me set that back to 0. And let's use the look back and see if that helps. Yeah, I think that helps because I'm not getting a signal on this bar anymore. So remember this, let me mark it here. So this bar, we were getting an incorrect signal, and I believe this bar as well, we were getting an incorrect signal. And all right, so let's connect this up and see what we get. There we go. So that cleaned it up. Yep. So let me kind of go back here. I know this looked kind of confusing here. You were seeing all these long signals and it didn't look correct. And remember, that's why I'm using this bar direction solver, because it kind of cleaned up these long signals here. You can see the bar is moving in the wrong direction. But these signals are correct, because remember, all that we're looking at is this comparison solver here. And this comparison solver is just looking for when the low price is within 3 ticks above or below the thicker magenta line. So these are correct, but we need other solvers so that, technically it's correct, but of course what we're really looking for is bounces off of this magenta plot line. So that's why I'm using the bar direction to kind of get rid of these, to filter out these technically correct long signals, but it's not really what we're looking for. So once we use the bar direction solver in combination, there we go, then it cleaned it up. And so our long signal here is working out good. And, this is pretty subjective, but technically it's correct. We have our first low point, price moves up, comes back down. We get our second low point for a double bottom, and then price begins to move back up. Even though it didn't last very long, but technically it's correct. And the short signal is technically correct. Yeah, even this short signal here is technically correct. So this let me put a mark it here. So this high point here, let's see, it is the double top from, let's see, trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out where the SiSwingsHighLows plot is coming from. Oh, okay. Let me expand price. It's a little hard to see. So I'm going to stretch out the price here so we can see this a little better. Yeah, so what happened is you can see there's 2 bars here where we have the thicker magenta line that's detecting our widest tops. So we have 2 here that's detecting the widest tops. And that's coming from this bar here. So this high point is being detected as a high point from our swings, highs, lows indicator for 2 bars here. And so the high of this bar is within 3 ticks of that plot. So that's why we got this short. So that's really a matter of, I guess, setting up the SiSwingsHighsLows parameters a little better so we can eliminate this as actually being a high point or a pivot point. So okay, let's see if I can clean that up. So first thing I'm going to do is just try and work with the indicator here. Let's see, so I could adjust the swing sensitivity. So let's see if I up that to 5, see if that helps. And that did it. Alright, so let me adjust, I'm going to adjust the whole system here to work with a higher swing sensitivity. And that will probably as well eliminate the need to build some filters into BloodHound to get rid of some of these kind of sloppier kind of double tops and double bottoms. Alright, so get my BloodHound window set back up again. So what I need to do is go back into my comparison solver, and I should give this a name, shouldn't I? So let's see, we're looking, so what the solver is doing is it's comparing the high and low to the swing high-low indicator. All right, so I need to go into the indicator settings here and set this to 5 so it matches what's on the chart. Okay, so that cleaned up, well, didn't clean this up too much, but unfortunately there was an unfortunate side effect and we lost this double top up here, but I guess that was kind of to be expected because, you know, remember there's only 4 bars between these. So so that just kind of shows you that you know, the randomness of price. So in order to eliminate, you know, a bunch of kind of sloppy signals throughout this downtrend, we also eliminated a good signal on this double top up here. And so if, you know, it's interesting. If I was watching this in real time, I would say this is kind of a sloppy double top, even though it did end up being a pretty good run. You know, you could have scalped some money out of this, 20 ticks or so maybe. So, you know, it's kind of subjective as to how much you'd want to clean this up. So initially, you kind of want to start with setting up your swing high-low indicator initially. So that'll kind of add the best kind of filtering for this type of system here. So with that, let's see. Let's take a look at this. See if I can think of something off my top of my head here to kind of work this out. Yeah, you know, in looking at this, you just really don't know what could have happened. You know, I can see this. Let me use an arrow. You know, I can see this. This could have been a pretty good double bottom here on this upper range for a breakout to the upside. Even though the breakout did occur a little bit later, it could have very easily have happened. So this could have been a good long signal, you know, but of course only time would tell that we actually got caught in a range here. And yeah, the same with this short signal. This easily could have worked out to have been a good short signal within this consolidation, and it did eventually. We can see price did eventually move down, but just not on the first double top. You know, but it did occur on the second one. You know, in hindsight, obviously we can say, yeah, these didn't work out, but if you were watching this in real time, yeah, you really don't know until price moves forward. So I would say, you know, if I didn't know, you know, if I didn't have any hindsight and I was watching these in real time, I'd say that these probably were some good signals, even though they just didn't work out. Yeah, and these signals here, once again, I think we're in the same situation where in hindsight we can, you know, obviously we can see that we're just stuck in some consolidation here for a little bit. Let's see, it's kind of a little early in the morning. You know, if we look at the time, it's a little early in the morning yet for oil trading to really pick up. So maybe you could use the time session solver to, use the time session solver to kind of keep you out of the market, right, in the overnight session. And yeah, so around 7 o'clock is kind of when I would expect oil trading to pick up. It just didn't pick up soon enough. So, yeah, I'd just say this just kind of ends up being some of the bad trades that go along with the good long trend runs that you can find in oil sometimes. So, all right, well, I'll just kind of leave it at that, and let me take a look at the board and see if there's any comments on this or questions about that. So, yeah, Julie's got a suggestion. Yeah, you know, because this is oil, she's suggesting I change to a 10 range, so that's probably a good idea. So that really changes things a lot, doesn't it? And so let's look at this right here. I'm wondering why we didn't get a signal here, and it could be because the low is slightly outside of our range. It looks like that low point is slightly outside of our 3-tick range here. So this low point here, let me move my dots. So here to here. All right, so our pivot point here is at $105.25, and our low is at, looks like at 22 cents. So in order to get that to trigger, so that's exactly at 3 ticks of difference. So let's modify this a little bit. And you know, one thing I noticed about oil that you don't see with the data box. So actually, let me pull up the data box and see if it does actually show it. Where is it? There we go. So pull the data box up. And so I can see the low price. Yeah, so the data box shows the low price at $105.22. Although I know from debugging code and stuff that the prices that come in don't always round off to the instrument's tick price. You know, the price that actually could have come in could have been 21.9. So it could have been 21 cents, 0.9, even though NinjaTrader is rounding it up to 22 cents. You know, the actual value, the actual tick price that might have come in could have been 0.219 cents. And so it's amazing how often that'll throw your systems off when you're actually coding stuff manually. And so that could have been why this actually didn't happen. And I know that, to me, it seems like prices coming in that are not rounded up to the tick price happens a lot on oil. So the way we can compensate for that, so I can go in here, excuse me while I take a drink of water. And the way I can compensate for that is put 0.35 ticks in there. And there we go. Now we have our long signal. So now I'm looking for a 7-tick range, you know, above and below our plot line here. So, and just so happens it looks like we got a pretty good short signal here, although this one wasn't working too well. You know, so you may want to take, you know, this simple signal here and combine it with, you know, other conditions that are looking for a longer term trend. You know, so maybe you might combine it with a higher period moving average, you know, looking for a longer term trend, you know, before you're looking for a double bottom like this. So, all right, so let me get back to some of these comments. Yeah, so Julie is just commenting that she would want to use this on a higher time frame chart. So she would be looking for the bigger double tops and double bottom moves, and then probably looking for smaller entry points. All right, I'm just going to read through some of these comments. Okay, so Julie is asking if she can get the BloodHound template file for this. And so what I'll do is I'll post it on the website, Julie, with the video. Either that or Julie, if you would send an email to me. So it's pretty easy for me to get distracted and forget, everybody who requests these files during the workshop. So if you just send, an email to me at the support@sharkindicators.com, and I can send it to you that way as well. Yeah. So so just kind of in general, I don't always post the BloodHound template files on the workshop videos, and I do that on purpose for the most part, and that's because I prefer that you watch the video and build the system along with me in the video if you watch the recording later on. That way it forces you to get more experience in working with BloodHound. So obviously the more that you work with a new program, or anything, the more you play with it, the more you work with it, then the more efficient you'll become at it. So I kind of do that on reason and on purpose, and I typically only post the BloodHound files that are really, really complex. Those are the ones that I usually post. And when they're simple like this, I prefer not to, but you're always welcome to ask me for the file, and I can email it to you if I don't post it up on the website. All right. So, okay, I will. Let's see. Let me get back to John's question here. All right. So John is he's asking, is there a way to enter the market after a pullback on the previous Renko bar? Well, we'll just do any kind of bar here. So let me use the other chart to demonstrate this, and it just so happens this is a Renko bar chart. So let's get rid of these here, and so I'm going to build just a very simple crossover system. So let me shorten the period up so we get more signals. That's I even want more signals than this. Or actually, I'm gonna approach this even simpler. So let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to set up one of my moving average periods here to kind of give me a good visual demonstration. And let's see if that works. No, that's a little too short. I'm going to try another indicator here. Okay, I think this will work. I'm just looking for a good pullback here. Oops. I think what I'm going to do that'll help me out is I'm going to, instead of using the closing price on this HMA, let's see if I use the opening price on the HMA, see how that works out. And yeah, there we go. Okay, I like that a lot better. All right, so now I'm going to begin building the little test system here in BloodHound. So my signal is going to be very simple. Oops, let me go back to the Logic tab. So I'm just going to be looking for a price reversal entry. And let me kind of clarify this. Entry on a pullback. So I'm going to use the inflection solver. And inflection is a mathematical term for change in direction. So if we apply an inflection to the closing price, what that's saying is we're looking for a change in direction, which is just saying we're looking for a reversal in price. So I can just simply set our indicator parameter to the closing price, and now you can see we get signals every time the bars reverse in direction. So very simple signal. So I got a lot of signals, and now I can just work on building the pullback part. And so for that, in looking for the pullback, we're going to be looking for let's see, for short signals, we're going to be looking for the high price to either touch our moving average or break our moving average for that pullback. And for long signals here, these long signals, we're going to be looking for the low price to come down and touch or break our moving average. And so we're going to be comparing, the low price to the moving average, or in this case, the high price to the moving average. So I can see right there we'll get a signal, and okay, and we'll get a signal here for a long signal. So we're going to be using a comparison solver, comparing the high and low price to the moving average. So I'm going to plug this in and get this working first. So let's switch this over. So indicator A is going to be our high and low price. So I'll drop this down to chameleon. And just to get this straight, so we're going to be using the high price here to generate short signals. Right? And so then we'll be using the low price to generate the long signals. And then next we need to set this up to our indicator, up to our HMA. So I'll add the HMA down there. And I shortened it down to a 15 period. So now, if you remember, on the chart, I fed the opening price into the HMA. So I need to do the same thing here in BloodHound. So the way I can get the opening price is from chameleon. So So I can take Chameleon and I will nest it. So I'm going to nest it in, and then when I select on Chameleon, I can choose the opening price. I can feed the opening price into the HMA. And let's see, next I need to adjust my outputs correctly. So I'm going to turn them all off. And so for this short signal, I'm looking for, let's see, indicator A to equal or be above or greater than our HMA. So that should be, yeah, it should be this. So A greater than B. And and I can see, let's see what happened here. It doesn't look like the opening price is being fed into the HMA. Well, I believe I have everything set up correctly, but it's apparently not working. So, well, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'll have to take a look at this later and see what happened here. I'll have to submit this to Jeremy because that's how it should be working. You know, you can feed any of these price datas into your indicator. And I know it was working at one point. So, all right. So, just to keep moving on, let me start with my chart again, and so I'm going to find another moving average to make this work a little better. Let's see. Let me go back to the SMA again. So I'm just going to have to play with the periods here so I can get this working the way I want it to. Yeah, the SMA is really responsive. So maybe I wish I kind of remembered what indicator we used in that last workshop, but let me see if the zero lag triple EMA works a little better. And that's pretty quick. That's a pretty fast response as well. Oh, All right, maybe this will work. Yeah, I think this will work. So I can see I should get a long signal there on that pullback. And let's see. So I don't want signals when the moving average is, inside the bar. So obviously this type of Renko bar kind of, can easily give you a whole bunch of false signals, because it has such a long bar. And we're looking for just the pullbacks or the tail of the bar. So let's see if I can find some other entry signals here. And well, let me increase this period a little bit. See if that helps. Or no, actually, yeah, I think I need to go the other way. Let me decrease the period. Well, I was hoping to make this candle here work out for a signal, but price is already below the opening price. I'm going to try another indicator here, see how this works. No, that's not working out too good either. Well, just go with what I've got. Alright, so this isn't going to work out, and just not finding a lot of signals. Well, here's another signal. Let me put a big circle around that so I can find it easier later on. And alright, look at that. When it rains, it pours. And we got two more signals here. Okay, so we'll work in this area right here. So let me go in and adjust the comparison solver. And first, I should give this a name. So this is looking for the price inflection, and this comparison is the high and low to, what was that? The zero lag, triple EMA. Okay. All right, so the zero lag, triple EMA. All right, so let's switch over indicator B to the right moving average. Okay, there it is. And let's see, I'm using a 40 period. Oops. Right, yep, okay, zero electrical, they may have 40 period. Okay. And it looks like I actually got my outputs incorrect. Let's see here. Is that what I'm... Well, actually, no. In this case, I have short signals, so I'm going to clear out my long signals. I only have short signals working with here. So let me get one of these short signals working correctly. And let's see. So we want indicator A, which is our price, right? Indicator A is our high and low price. So I need A to be greater than B, and B represents our moving average. So I want A greater than B. So I want a 1 there. Great. So knowing that I want my short output set to here to give me the opposite response for the long output, I'll set a 1 there. All right. And I wonder if maybe I just accidentally, yeah, I think I just accidentally used the wrong output on the HMA. So I know I'm kind of taking the long road to get there, John. I'm sorry about that. It just goes to show, you don't ever expect yourself to kind of figure this stuff out the first time. That's why it takes so long when you have to write this stuff by code. Is imagine if I had to make all these changes by changing my code to do this. And so that's what makes BloodHound so much faster, is when you're working through these type of things, when you're working through this type of logic, you can make changes on the fly so much quicker than you can if you're writing this all in code. So I'm going to go back and test the HMA again real quick. And all right, so I got the opening price in there. Let's see. Oh, what period did I have? I think I had a 15 period. And yeah, I should give this a name, shouldn't I? So, all right. There's today's date. And I'll put an A after it. Something simple. All right, let me open up BloodHound again. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing a quick test on the HMA again. So I'm going to copy this guy, switch this solver over to the HMA, and replace the zero lag with the HMA. And next I need to feed in the low price here. Alright, so I need to change the period on my HMA, and then go down to Chameleon and select the opening price. Alright, so I believe that's set up correctly, so now let me put that new solver on the logic board here. So I'll go to my existing nodes, and there's my HMA comparison. And I'm going to change the name real quick. I like to shorten up the names just because see how it makes the solver a little shorter? So a longer name gives you a longer creates a longer solver to so you can see the name in there. And so with the comparison solvers, I like to shorten the names up. There. And it's still not working correctly. Okay, well, I tried. All right, so we're going to go back to the zero lag triple EMA. So let me get rid of the HMA on here. All right, so with this signal, with the comparison, the signals come out of the comparison solver. All right, you can see I'm getting a bunch of long signals here that I don't want. And then I'm getting short signals that I don't want. And so essentially I want to make sure that the signals I'm getting are in the same direction as the bar, so I can eliminate, you know, like, see all these long signals here. All these long signals, I can eliminate all of these just based on the bar direction, because the bars are going down, so I want short signals. So I can eliminate a lot of those long signals just by using the bar comparison. So let me add this bar comparison in here. I'll have to join them together with the AND node. So there, I eliminated some of them already. And let's see, next. So next, I need to eliminate these short signals here. And so what I'm noticing is that, you know, these bars do not have wicks on them. So let's see. Actually, I think this will become a mute point, because essentially the way I would do this is that I would want to get an entry signal shortly, within a few bars after price reverses. You know, I don't want to wait until price has made a big move and, you know, get into the trade, you know, way down here after price has already made a big move, because you just increase your chances of price changing direction again on you. So when so I'm going to take the initial signal, right? Remember, our initial signal is just price reversing, and then we're looking to get in on a pullback. So I'm going to take this initial signal, and I'm going to give myself essentially 5 bars, or let's see, 4 bars after for an entry signal to occur. So I'm going to give essentially price a 4-bar opportunity to get into the trade. And so you can see that what's going to happen is that this pullback here, pullback with the diamond, we're not going to get a signal on that because it happened 1 bar too late, at least in this example. You know, of course, you can adjust this look back period, you know, as you see fit. So if I up it to 6, then we could get 2 signals out of there, but I'm going to restrict it to 5 or 4 bars after. So now if I combine it all together, so there's our signal, and I can see that you know, we don't want this long signal here because there's no wick on that bar. So I need to create another filter, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to look for the length of the bar. So I know that a bar without a wick is going to be 4 ticks long, because just by looking at the settings, right? So the brick size of the Renko is 4 ticks. So I need to look for a bar length of 5 ticks or more. So I can do that by using bar length. So let me just plug that in there. And I'm going to change this from ATRs over to ticks. Since we're dealing with a Renko, I can make this a lot easier on myself and just work with ticks. So let's set this to 5, set both of them to 5. And there we go. So now we can see that right, we're getting along a short output on every bar that has a wick. Right, so if we scan forward, so obviously every reversal bar is going to have a signal because all of reversal bars have wicks. So, and look, there's a wick there. Oh, there's one, a 5 ticker. So let's adjust this down to 4.5. Interesting. I wonder why this is not working. Let's set this down to 4. All right. So 4 works. So essentially, when we're at 4 ticks or more, you can see our output is set to above 4 ticks. So now we're getting signals on bars that are more than 4 ticks long. So if it has a wick, it's going to be at least 5 ticks long. All right, so that looks better. So let's go back to where our signals are. And I will just plug this into the AND node as an additional filter. All right, so that eliminated some additional signals here. So let me disconnect this again. So you see this section right here where we have a bunch of long signals here. Right, we have a bunch of long signals because essentially our moving average is inside the bar. And there's no wicks on the bar. So when I add this wick filter, all those signals go away. So the last filter we have to work on is the reversal bar itself. So I need to strip out the reversal bar itself. And let's see, I can do that. I can do that with the Lookback. Yeah, so let me use a Lookback here. So I'm just going to look directly at the Lookback. And see, it has a displacement of 1 already as a default setting. And so there, that's working right there. And you'll notice that it's moving, our signals are, yeah, I remember here, back here, originally I set the inflection solver so that we would not get a signal on this second bar here with this wick, the second wick bar. But the Lookback, because I displaced it by 1, it pushed this whole set of signals forward by 1. So what I'm going to do is, now that I'm using the Lookback, I'm going to go and make some adjustments to my inflection. So now I'm going to set my Lookback on the inflection to 1. So now I only have a signal after the reversal bar, or after the inflection. And I'm going to use the Lookback period in the Lookback node. So I'm going to set this to 4. And as soon as you increase the Lookback period greater than 1, you'll see this extra option drops down here. And so let's see, what I'm going to be looking for is, I believe I want the max. Yes. So I want to be looking for the max. So essentially what this max is saying is that if there is a signal coming in to the look back within 4 bars back, any signal that comes in, I want to keep extending that signal forward for 4 bars. And so I'm looking at the maximum confidence value that's coming in. And remember, the technical term for this plot, this long plot and short plot, the technical term is your confidence value. And so when you get a long output of 1, we can see on our price panel here, we have an output of 1. So so the technical term for that is a confidence value of 1, or another way of saying that is 100%. And so what this look back node is doing is it's looking for so when it's looking back 4 bars, it's looking for a confidence value coming into it. So the inflection solver is sending a confidence value of 1 or 100% into the look back, and so we're looking for that, any maximum value that's coming into the look back. So as long as there's one signal, a value of 1 coming into the look back within this 4 bar look back period, then we get a signal coming in. All right, there. So let's disconnect that, and we now want to use the signal coming out of the look back and plug that into the AND node. And let's see. So look at here. It didn't quite solve everything, because look at this quick little switchback. So what happened is we can see we had this reversal bar here, which created a signal extending forward, 4 bars, and we got another reversal and extended our short signal again, another 4 bars. So we still got a signal on that reversal. So this didn't eliminate everything. So another way, let's see here. Another way to fix this is kind of what I end up using a lot to kind of eliminate a signal on the trigger bar. So I kind of consider the reversal as our initial trigger bar, and then we wait for the actual entry signal. And so the XOR can be used to eliminate signals on our initial trigger bar. So what I'm going to do is plug that in there. And so I'm just taking a look at the inflection. So if you notice, right, the signal coming out of the inflection, right, is on the reversal bar. So I'm going to take that signal, feed it into the XOR as well, and hold on. Oh, all right. Now, since the look back didn't work as expected, let me disconnect this, and I'm going to plug this back in, and okay, so that logic's not working either. Okay, let me rethink this here. Oh, it's not working because I didn't set the price inflection back up correctly. So remember, I need to put my look back period to 5. All right. So this is not working now because the XOR is not going to work correctly for our situation because I have this lookback period of 5, right? So I'm getting, 5 bars with our, short and long signals. So what I need to do is I need to build another inflection solver here. And this inflection solver is just going to have a look back of 1. So let me change this over to the closing price. Okay, there we go. That looks correct. So I'm going to disconnect this inflection solver, reconnect this one in, and cross my fingers, and alright, so it's working pretty good. All except this signal here. So what is going on? Oh. Okay. So I'm going to rethink this again. So let's see, I'm going to test using the invert value. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if I use the invert value on this extra inflection solver, right, I can see that I no longer have a long signal on this reversal bar. See, if I look down here, the long signal is missing when it reverses up. And so I can see here, so remember we were getting, let's see, so I don't think I need the XOR anymore. So if I look back at where we're having problems, so we're getting a short signal here. So I want to eliminate these short signals on the reversal bar and eliminate this long signal on the reversal bar. So going back to this inflection solver here, right, I reversed the signals, and so we can see on this reversal down, there's no short signal anymore, and there's no long signal on this reversal up, and there's no short signal here. All right, so let me just mark them. Right, so we're missing these signals here. So since we're missing these signals, now I can plug this into the anode as an additional filter. There we go. So this is a much cleaner way of doing it. You kind of had to get there the roundabout way, but when you're thinking through logical conditions like this, sometimes that's how it works. Sometimes you take the long approach, and as you work through it, you hopefully will eventually find the simplest solution. So this became a very simple solution just by reversing the output. So we no longer need this look back, and I believe, yeah, I believe that's it. Let's see. So there's our signal there, a short and a short. Let me look a little further back in the chart. And so let's see. So we're still getting some unwanted signals here. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is wanted, but technically, see, the moving average is inside the body. So technically, we wanted to eliminate that. So, so we are getting a false long signal here. Well, you know, John, John, if you kind of can send me a little more information of how you're doing your pullbacks, you know, then I can work this through on exactly how you're doing it, because I don't know, my moving average indicator I'm using just isn't working out too good, and I don't remember what I used in the last workshop, because that was almost a year ago. But I remember somebody had an indicator moving average setting that worked out a lot better. This is just kind of a bad example. So let's see, I'm kind of wondering why. Let's see. Oh, yeah, so this bar length solver where we're looking for candles with a wick, well, I mean, technically that's correct, but I can see I actually need another filter where I actually need to see if the moving average, I need to make sure that moving average is below the opening price. Well, let me add that real quick here. So I'm trying to wrap this up here, so let me just build another comparison solver, and I want to make sure that our moving average is either below the open or above the open. So I want it below the open for long signals and above the open when we're going short. So because I'm kind of cramped for time, I'm just going to rush through this. Sorry about that. And, oh, actually, yeah. So I'm going to set indicator B to the opening price. And let's see. I need to reverse my outputs here. Yeah, so this is working. So I can see that the moving average is below the opening price, and we're getting a long signal, so that's correct. And until the moving average gets above our opening price, and then it gives me a short signal. Yeah, so this is working good as far as building a filter. So this is stacking up pretty good. All right, so there we go. That eliminated it. And I think, essentially, I think this comparison solver created a better filter. And so I'm going to eliminate one of the other solvers here. But first, let me name this. So I'm looking for the, let's see, the zero lag, triple EMA, and I'm comparing it to the open. All right. So essentially, this comparison solver built a better filter than what this bar length was actually doing. So I'm just going to disconnect this guy. And let me take a quick look through the chart and see if our signals are still working good. So yeah, our two shorts are still working good. And not a whole lot of signals with this. Okay, there we go. There's another short. That's working good. Okay, I'm just scanning through the chart real quick. I know this looks blurry for you guys, but I just want to find some other. Okay, let me back up here. So you can see we did get a signal here. Well, you know, we did get a pullback, but it happened after our look back period, because remember I set the look back period only to last 4 bars after. So this would have been the last bar, you know, to get a signal. So that's why we didn't get a signal here. And you know, here's a pullback. But our moving average is inside the bars. So you could rework this. So if you just want to look for a pure, you know, bar with a wick, you know, you could do that by eliminating, by just looking for the bar length, and that'll tell you. However, John, I think the purpose of this is you also want to get in at that price level. And unfortunately, I ran out of time today to kind of show you how to do that within Raven. Let's see. Yeah, I can kind of tell you the way you would do that in Raven. Actually, I think, do I have this done? No, that none of these comparison solvers are doing it. So another thing that you would need is, let's see. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This system actually would do it. It will do it in Raven. Yeah. This actually will work just as it is in Raven. Let's see. I need to grab a data feed in order to show you real quick. So remember, you have to be connected to some kind of data feed source, whether it be simulated data feed or market replay data feed, something, in order to enable strategies. So now you can see the strategy button's enabled. So there we go. So the key to getting in, you know, to getting your order in when price actually, I lost my signal here. Hold on. Let me go back and find that signal. There we go. So the key to getting your strategy to submit an order when price actually pulls back up to your moving average in real time. So if you're watching this bar building, you know, if you're watching price moving in real time, so as soon as the price, the closing price, right, or the last tick price touches this moving average, the key to getting a fill right at that moment is you have to set your calculate on bar close, set that to false, and then Raven will submit a market order when price pulls back up to this moving average. So, all right, well, kind of sorry I didn't have enough time, John, to work this out, the whole thing with you. But, you know, John, I'd be glad to pick this up at the beginning of next Friday's workshop. I just ask that you kind of send me an email, you know, to support@ninjatrader.com just to remind me if you would like that. You know, so if you think you can figure this out on your own, then you don't need to send me an email, and we'll just leave it at this. All right. So I'm just going to read some questions or comments that come in here and see if there's any quick answers I can give you before I wrap this up. Okay, so Jeff is asking, I'm looking to build a system which uses a price action swing on both the price and a MACD. Is there a video that will help me build this divergence system? Oh, so you're building a divergence system. Okay. Well, Jeff, I can kind of show you. I can tell you last week's workshop was dedicated to the swings highs low indicator, and I did demonstrate it using the MACD as you know, looking for the MACD to break its own previous pivot points. So there's that, but there's also a workshop video that I had done. I had actually done a divergence. I built a stochastics divergence system. You know, so you can just substitute the stochastics for a MACD, and you should be able to build that divergence system that way. So let me bring up I'll bring up the video tutorials here. And so I'm going to go into the webinars here. So this is where we can find the recorded webinars. Let's see. So now, I believe I did that divergence in March. I'm just going to scan through here real quick. Yep, there we go. March 13th is the divergence system. And let's see. I didn't mention what indicator I used, but anyways. So there you go, Jeff. And there's also some attached template files for you to work with. So, all right, so Jeff is saying nice HMA. Yeah, so the HMA comes with NinjaTrader, nothing special. All right, looks like that's it. So, all right, well, thanks, guys. And as always, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.